my fear is one. I feel like personally, the Democratic Party takes people like myself for granted. They take people who've had their lives destroyed by this administration, who have been targeted by the administration, adversely impacted by the administration for granted, because they think, well, you know what, Mike Fanone, he's going to vote Democrat because what's his alternative? And so that pisses me off. But the other thing that pisses me off is the fact that, you know, while I recognize, you know, the value and the importance of contrast, but in that same vein, what is the Democratic Party going to do to fix all of these things? And when are they going to start messaging to the American people, like, these are the solutions? Here's our project 2025, so to speak. Right. And this is our game plan. Because my fear is, like, I don't like the establishment Democratic Party. And I think that I'm not in the minority in this country when I say that.
Everyone hates them.
Part of our concern with that is that let's say I know you thought Janet Mills was the safe candidate, and I get that, and that makes complete and total sense to me. She won 2 statewide elections, but she's an establishment candidate who most likely is going to continue the same policies of establishment Democrats that we have seen for the past, however many decades. And let's just, for the sake of this conversation, let's say the Democratic Party lost sight of the working class in this country in 1980. That's 46 years of essentially ignoring working class people in this country. And that's a huge problem. And I don't know how you make up that deficit in such a short period of time, without a real plan that shows working class people how you are going to push. And then you have stumbles, like all these people rallied to get Abigail Spanberger elected in Virginia, where I live, myself included, and she vetoes a bill that would allow public workers to government workers to organize, to be represented by labor unions. That was a huge blow. I mean, that the SEIU was every single rally that I went to, there was SEIU representation there, because they thought that she was going to be the one that delivered that for Virginia. And then she vetoed it. No negotiation, no nothing. And I just, I don't think that's going to bode well going into the midterms. I mean, do I think there's going to be a blue wave? Yes, because Trump is that bad. But does that still give me a joyful warrior approach? No.
Yeah, no, this is not going to be a cycle of joy, guys. I mean, I wrote in 2018, when I first became nerd famous, a magazine piece for the New Republic. And it was really cool, have an opportunity to do that and lay out my work on negative partisanship. But it was called Hate is on the Ballot. Okay? Hate is on the ballot. And that was 2018. And God, don't we feel virginal when we look back at 2018 and our problems then, as bad as it was. So, it's not going to be an election about positives. And we look at Democratic Party approval rating, and it is in the 20s. And the reason why, Michael, is because Democrats are more likely, we're much less polarized than Republicans are. So we're more likely to be honest to a pollster, which is why Biden always was kind of down there at 40, because Democrats, the economy wasn't great. And so they were honest about it, right? Republicans are I don't care how many body bags there are, he's doing great. And you can see that in the data, right? So some of it's that, but it's twofold. Number one, I have been helping Platner's campaign ever since the day Mills dropped out. And if I was in Maine, I'd have no problem voting for Platner, because Susan Collins has let Donald Trump basically, destroy the rule of law and has been silent about it. The comparison of these two people's problems to me are not even in the same category, right? But I, again, am very pragmatic and care about maximizing Democratic power so we can finally do the things. Here's the frustrating part. You tell a story from the 80s. Do you know what happened in 1980? The Republican Party passed their voodoo economic plan and took the marginal tax rate and kept it from 70 70 something down to like 35. So like, yes, the Democrats played their part in NATO and NAFTA and globalization and the decline of manufacturing. Obviously they did, right? Because Clinton could not have won the presidency in 1992 or 96 without embracing these neoliberal policies, right? But they were not created by us, and they are not going to get fixed without anybody but us, right? I mean, the Republicans created them. We helped them. Now, obviously, that has come back, right? And the independent voters of Maine, I mean, nobody hates the parties more than the independents do. They hate them, right? And so, like, you know, I think brands and the more that people complain about Platner as the nominee, the stronger he gets. And we saw that in the data. I've been telling people since Mills dropped out, he's going to win, and he's going to win the general too. I generally believe that he is going to be the person that finally beats Susan Collins, because she is the establishment, and the anti-establishment sentiment is so hot right now. And then, of course, in the Democratic bucket, I just want to make sure I mention this because it never gets talked about. Is the people like me, okay? Because I want to see some balls, okay? I'm ready to start fighting. Like this is no longer, you know, Candyland. We're in war. Right? This is like, you know, war footing time. And you know, I don't feel like the party has a war footing posture yet. And some of that is because we don't have the White House and we don't have a party leader. And when you don't have that, you don't have the bully pulpit and all the media attention. So like the things that are happening aren't getting a lot of attention. And that's why I tried to highlight this with my recent piece in the Messengers. But yeah, you're 100% right. Everyone is really pissed off. But the problem is we have pissed off the working class, like the Bernie Sanders, Fanone type of constituency. We have not done a very good job of telling them, oh, and by the way, through that time against Republican, you know, fighting us tooth and nail, we managed to finally raise the minimum wage one time in 2006 because they wouldn't let us raise the minimum wage. It was $5.15. And now it's $7.25, and it's been $7.25 for 10 years. And that's not because Democrats, okay? That is because the Republican fucking party is never going to do it. And so we have to not only look at how are we going to get policy done, or what are we going to offer people, but how are we going to get it done? And that's where I come in. I come in on let's win as many seats as possible, especially in the Senate, because the filibuster does exist. And I doubt these people are going to, you know, get rid of the filibuster. So we need to do what we can do to get the power to make the changes that people like Michael are expecting and needing. But, you know, unfortunately, you have to promise things to like even Mandami, right? He had to promise some pretty big things in New York City to win that New York Democratic mayor's race, right? And delivering is really hard. It's a lot easier as a mayor where you don't have a Senate filibuster, okay? But in the federal level, delivery for a president is exceedingly difficult, even in the good times. We are not living in good times, right? We are in a position where they have us by the policy balls, and they've been holding and squeezing tight on immigration, on wages, on healthcare, everything. So we have to do better at telling people where to direct their ire, because a lot of the ire for the people that you are representing, in my mind, is directed both ways, right? And I get that, I do, but like if we don't focus our ire completely on Republicans, we're never going to be able to change that power differential problem that we have right now. And that's the only way we can make meaningful change for people.